Good evening. A massive fire is burning in Brampton at this hour. Thick black smoke can be seen from kilometers away.
The fire broke out around 20 after 4 this afternoon. This is a live look from the CTV News chopper at this hour. The fire is currently burning inside a scrapyard near Intermodal Drive and Goreway Drive, which is just north of the 407 in Brampton. Fortunately, no injuries have been reported, but again, you can see there thick black smoke as firefighters try to douse this fire. There are also visible flames, and there is a heavy presence of fire trucks and emergency response vehicles in this area.
Peel police say roads near the fire are closed and are advising people to avoid the area. They say the smoke is affecting visibility on some roads in the area and are asking people to keep their windows closed. Again, this fire was first called in around 4:20 this afternoon and continues to burn. We'll have more on this throughout the evening on CP24 and tonight on CTV News at 11:30. In other news, police are calling the numbers alarming. A dramatic uptick in fatalities on Toronto's roads.
The latest, a 63-year-old man killed last night in Etobicoke. Our Janice Golding joins us live tonight with more on the crash and the concern from police on the dramatic rise in fatal incidents on our roads. Janice.
Hi, Michelle. As you've mentioned, Toronto police are sounding the alarm about a huge uptick in the number of traffic fatalities in our city, saying they've gone up dramatically year over year, and the numbers are even higher over the course of 2 years. This as friends and family are mourning the loss of the city's latest victim. Emergency crews surround a man on Shorncliffe Road at Brampton, trying to save his life after the Dodge Dart he was driving went off the road and crashed into a parked dump truck.
He was a big car guy. Like all weekend, he was at the car show with the Dart. He had Model A's.
Family and friends identifying the victim as 63-year-old Kelly Nichols, the owner of an Etobicoke service station.
He was a kind person, a loving person. Give his heart and soul to people.
Fantastic guy, very charismatic, strong, opinionated, but always there for everybody. That's why he carries a lot of weight locally with a lot of people.
People gathered at Nichols' garage today, given the news traveled quickly.
It's amazing how he was so well known, so it's been going around the neighborhood. Everybody's phoning everybody.
Police say they were called to the scene just after 6:30 p.m. after a driver lost control of his car and struck another vehicle.
I was closing my shop, and all of a sudden, we heard something hit a truck over there, and we went across the street, called 911. The guy was still breathing.
Then the guy was laying on the ground. The ambulance came and picked him up or whatever, got him out of the car, and they're trying to revive him. Despite
life-saving efforts, he would be pronounced dead at the scene. Nichols, the latest victim, say Toronto police, in a year that's seen a huge uptick in traffic-related fatalities.
We have had a 28% increase from last year at this time. A significant increase has been shown with our motorcycle operators and our pedestrians this year. So our motorcycle operator deaths this year are up 500% compared to the same time last year.
Police call it an alarming trend, with pedestrian fatalities up 56% compared to this time last year and 75% compared to 2024. Police blaming aggressive and distracted driving along with speeding for the majority of these accidents.
I'm worried. I'm definitely worried about this trend.
While people who knew Nichols say he had a heart condition and other health issues, no one knows for sure what caused him to lose control yesterday evening.
He wasn't even a crazy driver. He was just like, he was always like calm driver and stuff.
I'm not going to say anything till we hear from the coroner. I'm not going to speculate or anything.
Nichols' accident, Toronto's 23rd fatal collision this year. Police say not only have the number of fatal collisions gone up, but so too have the number of serious injuries. And they say motorists need to do more and pay attention to the roads and slow down. But they say everyone needs to do their part. Reporting live, I'm Janice Golding. Now back to Nathan.
Thank you, Janice. Also tonight, MPPs rise for the summer, but not before some final parting shots in the legislature. The criticism, the defense, and the work still ahead.
It is work It is work meant to make things run more smoothly during the World Cup.
But tonight, the TTC is warning service disruptions and closures could make life difficult for those trying to get around before the games kick off. CTV's Mike Walker is live tonight with details, and Mike, riders will start dealing with some of these issues in just a few days.
Yes, Nathan, that's right. It gets underway on Sunday with line 1 closed between Shepherd West and St. George stations, plus service disruption for the commute on Monday, though the TTC says this is necessary for track work to remove 4 reduced speed zones along line 1. In just a matter of days, the TTC will start to experience a surge in ridership with the FIFA World Cup set to kick off. And the rush is now on to get what the TTC calls critical infrastructure work done along a significant stretch of Line 1.
We are doing this to strengthen the system ahead of FIFA and, more importantly, for the long-term future of our network.
That includes track work to eliminate 4 reduced speed zones between Shepherd West and St. George stations.
Means faster journeys, fewer delays, and a more reliable subway.
That's a good thing because sometimes I do go late to work because of the stopping.
When the TTC kind of slows down, it's frustrating.
It's been a priority for the TTC's new CEO, but to get that work done, there will be no subway service along that stretch of Line 1 Sunday. And on Monday, the TTC will be running single-line service between Lawrence West and Wilson stations. That means both north and southbound subways will only run on the northbound tracks.
Your subway service, I want to be very clear, is not going to be as efficient as you're used to. There's going to be longer headways. Customers will have the option to be able to utilize our shuttle service as well.
The disruption expected to increase the commute by 20 minutes.
As long as it's fixed, and I won't go on Monday.
At least it's like solving a longer-term problem, right? So we can suffer for a day or two.
Hundreds of thousands of people are expected to visit Toronto throughout the tournament. That will include 6 matches here. Officials insisting this track work is not last minute.
So it's just part of the dynamic process that we undertake in terms of planning, but the intention was always to get to FIFA with as low a number of restricted speed zones as possible.
Pointing to 2 hydraulic fuel leaks that forced the TTC to take its work trains out of service, and events in the city prompting the transit agency to revise its work schedule. Now, as for Monday's service disruption, the TTC says it chose that day because peak ridership levels are Tuesday through to Thursday, and there's another reduced speed zone near Davisville Station. Officials said today they hope to have that removed in time for FIFA. Reporting live, I'm Mike Walker. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Mike. Well, let's turn our attention to the forecast. And oh, wow, what a lovely surprise. A shot of beautiful Niagara Falls. They clearly are enjoying sunshine today and some warmth. Great day to be a tourist exploring Niagara or right here in Toronto because our run of sun continues and nature turned up the heat a little bit from yesterday. Lindsay Morrison is here with a look at the current conditions, and it's about to get even hotter, Lindsay.
That's for sure, Michelle, and I have no doubt that visitors who come to Toronto will be making their way to Niagara Falls when the World Cup is here next week. So yes, all eyes on the Golden Horseshoe all the way around. Right now it is 24 degrees at Pearson Airport, as well as Niagara Falls, 24 degrees in London and Hamilton, 25 this hour in Peterborough. We've got a northerly wind today. It's been a little breezy at times, but interestingly enough, that north wind not cooling us down. The opposite. We were warmer today than we were yesterday. Beautiful sunshine right across southern Ontario. There's a layer of high cloud that's maybe muting the blue sky a little bit out there, but overall things are looking good. Here's your overnight at a glance. 11 degrees, the forecast low with a few clouds out there. Overall, it is looking pretty seasonal for us, but there is a frost advisory once again in place for communities north of Bancroft. Coming up, we are going to talk about turning up the heat a little bit. We'll show you when we could be close to 30 degrees. That's ahead, but for now, Nathan, I'll send it over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. It may not be summer just yet, but the summer break has begun for the Ontario Legislature.
The spring session ended today after just 30 days. MPPs will not sit again until the fall, but the government says it doesn't mean they won't be hard at work in the meantime. CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris joins us live tonight with the details. Siobhan.
Well, the government House leader really bristled at any suggestion that this is a break for MPPs. He says your local representative will be visible in your community this summer, but opposition critics say all of this is bad for accountability.
It's the pageantry that puts a period on the spring session of the Ontario Legislature. Just 30 days inside Queen's Park, packed with controversy for Premier Doug Ford and his government.
He spent their money on a luxury private jet. He sold out the Toronto waterfront to American investment bankers. And he changed the laws of this province to hide his cell phone records.
By the time MPPs are all back together, leaves will be falling off the trees. The legislature on recess until October 27th.
It's not a break. We are going to be extremely busy with public hearings, with committees, with conferences. You will see MPPs in every corner of this province.
The Premier defends his work ethic. He says his schedule is packed, including with work trips to the U.S.
Rather than sitting here and arguing with each other, we're actually going to get out there and talk to the people and start bringing more jobs to Ontario.
But critics argue it's more about ducking accountability.
It's wrong, and the government's just getting in the habit of doing this. They don't want to be here. They don't want the scrutiny.
There is a second part of the government's justification of waiting until late October to reconvene.
We don't want to interfere in the municipal elections.
Opposition leaders counter that in the last few weeks, the government's expanded the powers of regional chairs, muscled in on the deal governing Toronto's Island Airport.
They directly interfered in Toronto elections back in 2018. So it's BS if the government's not bringing us back because they don't want to interfere in municipal elections.
There will be at least one by-election before MPPs are back at Queen's Park. That's in Scarborough Southwest to replace Dolly Begum. Remember, she made the jump to federal politics and changed parties too. We also know that Caroline Mulrooney intends to resign at some point in the coming months. Reporting live from Queen's Park, I'm Siobhan Morris. Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, Siobhan. And still with Queen's Park, the province is investing $4 million to increase student access to practical learning outside the classroom.
When students have opportunities to put their learning into practice, they leave school better prepared for whatever path they choose. Now, this investment will help more students access those experiences and build a strong foundation for the future. Through these partnerships, students will have opportunities to strengthen communication, teamwork, and problem-solving skills, develop confidence through their new experiences, and give back through services in their communities.
The investment is being made in partnership with the Duke of Edinburgh's International Award Canada, as well as the King's Trust Canada. The province says school boards that will be taking part in the programs will communicate more information to parents and students directly.
Parents still have a chance to share their opinions with the province on new protections for students with medical conditions. The Ford government says the measures will include students with diabetes, epilepsy, severe allergies, and asthma. The proposed changes would ensure all school boards use the same form for creating care plans and require standardized training for staff. The province is still consulting about potential changes, and comments can be submitted until July 12th to school boards and other stakeholders engaged in consultation. Still ahead, the U.S. president is at it again, calling Canada the 51st state, mere hours before the trade minister arrived in Washington. The prime minister and the premier's reaction to Trump's renewed taunt as Canada enters a technical recession.
Police have released an image of a suspect in an attempted murder investigation in Richmond Hill. 30-year-old Syed Human Mermat Adey, of no fixed address, is wanted for attempted murder and aggravated assault. York police say he's believed to be one of 3 people involved in a stabbing and road rage incident near Yonge and May Avenue on June 21st of last year. One of the suspects was arrested at the scene, while a second person was taken into custody on the weekend. The victim was treated for non-life-threatening injuries.
Police are searching for a suspect in connection with an assault in the city's East End. Police have released these images of the suspect, who is described as being in his mid to late 20s with a slim build and dark hair. He was last seen wearing a basketball jersey, black pants, running shoes, and a black crossbody bag. Police say on May 17th, the suspect attacked a victim on a streetcar near Coxwell and Queen before running away. Police say the assault was unprovoked, and the victim was taken to hospital with serious but non-life-threatening injuries.
Police have laid charges in the theft of an armored vehicle, which they say was an inside job. A loaded gun was also seized during the arrest. On April 14th, police say 2 guards in an armored vehicle did a money drop-off at Yonge and Dundas. A white pickup truck drove up and a man got out, entered the armored vehicle, which was left unlocked, and left with cash. He was later arrested on May 13th. 35-year-old Dane Marson of Brampton is facing several charges, including multiple firearms offenses and theft over $5,000. Investigators say an employee of the armored car company was also involved in the theft.
New polling is bringing to light just how frustrated and fed up Canadians feel about our healthcare system.
CTV's Andrew Johnson has more on the data and one family's experience that was once unheard of but is now the norm for many.
She got her own bowl of Cheerios last week for the first time.
Jen Dunn still remembers how she got her daughter Kaya, who has severe autism, a referral to a pediatrician. How could she forget?
I'm not exaggerating. I was on my knees in tears. And I said, I'm not leaving here until I get some help. Nobody will help me.
Hours spent in waiting rooms or months on referral lists. Don't pass quickly.
Any kid on the spectrum, it's just so hard for them to wait.
Dunn's #1 focus is her daughter, but her own care situation is bleak. She last had a family doctor a decade and a half ago.
I was pregnant with my daughter, and she just turned 16. I have gone on extensive wait lists, but I never get, it's like a lottery to get in.
Dunn's experience is echoed in a new Nanos research poll of 1,000 Canadians who most commonly named long waits their #1 healthcare concern, followed by poor access to services and shortages of both doctors and staff. More than 90% of Canadians polled say something needs to change. More than 2/3 are open or somewhat open to having providers use AI to assist with diagnosis and treatment plans. 60% expressed openness to allowing private organizations to deliver publicly funded surgeries and diagnostic tests to reduce wait times.
The health system generally is so hard to turn this big ship around, whether it comes to using virtual care, allowing health professionals to use AI, allowing health professionals to do more of the things that traditionally doctors would do.
Only 14% of Canadians polled believe the healthcare system is headed in the right direction. No matter the solution, and a fix won't be simple, almost everyone agrees something is seriously wrong. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vancouver.
Trade talk was front and center as the Canadian minister leading that file met with his American counterpart in Washington.
Ahead of the high-stakes meeting, Dominic LeBlanc sent a letter to the U.S. and Mexico calling for a lengthy renewal of the Continental Trade Agreement. CTV's Abigail Beeman reports.
Minister, what are the goals of this meeting?
The goals of this meeting is to be able to tell you how well it's gone when we finish at 5 o'clock this afternoon.
The Canada-U.S. trade minister and chief negotiator in Washington to talk with the top U.S. trade rep, Jameson Greer. Dominic LeBlanc issued a letter to the U.S. and Mexico officially stating Canada's recommendation for a 16-year renewal of the Canada-U.S.-Mexico Free Trade Agreement.
We took stock of the work that the Americans want to do with Canada and the work that we're prepared to do over the coming weeks. I remain optimistic about the work that we can do with the Americans.
While a delegation from Manitoba was also here Tuesday, separately meeting with other U.S. trade officials.
There's clearly a path forward. There's clearly an importance for both countries as well to find a solution to this. So, I think we heard clearly what some of those irritants were. I think there's a path that we can make these kind of go away as well, though.
The U.S. has made its irritants known. The booze ban, supply management, and the Online Streaming Act high on the list, with one source today quoting frustration from U.S. officials who said dealing with Canada has been a roller coaster.
He seems to go and socialize and come back empty-handed while the Mexicans have been in formal negotiations, eating our lunch for the last 6 months. I am concerned that Mr. LeBlanc goes down at a time when Mark Carney has led us into the only recession in the G7.
The Prime Minister, meanwhile, tried to downplay the idea Mexico is further ahead in talks.
There's a series of issues, technical issues that they have with Mexico, they have with us, which is why there's a bifurcated discussion. So 30 issues or so with us, more than almost 60, I think, with Mexico at current count. And so we're working through a series of those issues.
Mexico has already wrapped up one round of trade talks with the U.S. with 2 more set, leaving many worried about where that leaves Canada ahead of a July 1st deadline. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Washington.
And U.S. President Donald Trump is taking the news that Canada is in a technical recession as an opportunity to revive his threats of making this country the 51st state. CTV's Rachel Aiello has those details.
The U.S. president is at it again, taking to Truth Social last night to call Canada the 51st state. A message amplified this morning by the American ambassador to Canada. Prime Minister Mark Carney said despite the rhetoric, it's an administration Canada has to work with.
We take the administration as it is and are working together on a number of areas.
Canada strong.
This less than a week after Carney said a strong Canada would help make America great again. And that line was one U.S. Ambassador Pete Hoekstra said was worth repeating. Asked what he makes of Donald Trump using recession talk to revive the annexation taunt, Pierre Poilievre called it ridiculous.
We have to make sure that we don't allow ridiculous comments like that to distract us from the very real suffering that Canadians are experiencing. The regret that Mr. Carney has created this weakness going into formal negotiations.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford also pushed back, while noting Ontario created 380% more jobs than the U.S. per capita in April.
Yeah, here he goes again. Here goes President Trump again, 51st state. I get tired of that guy.
These Canadians weren't worried about the U.S. trying to use our economic slowdown as leverage.
We got lots of opportunities here. We are a country with minerals. We are a country with professionals.
Canadians will have none of it.
Does Trump even know what leverage is?
This is not just Canada that's experiencing the economic issues. It's a worldwide thing.
While the Canadians we spoke to didn't express the same concerns, today the opposition called on Carney to present a plan to reverse the recession so that Canada can go into this summer's trade talks in a better economic position. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
In the Middle East, Israeli drone strikes on southern Lebanon killed 8 people. Israel says it will keep attacking if Hezbollah does. The Iranian-backed militant group continued launching projectiles and drones toward Israeli soldiers in southern Lebanon and civilians in Israel. Israeli troops have made their deepest incursion into Lebanon in 26 years and threatened to strike Beirut's southern suburbs. Yesterday, U.S. President Donald Trump said Israel had agreed to not send soldiers to Beirut and that both sides had consented to scale back fighting.
Iran has reportedly stopped communicating with mediators after Israel threatened to attack Beirut. Tehran insists the fighting in Lebanon is part of the wider ceasefire talks with the U.S. The Americans and Israelis maintain the hostilities in Lebanon are separate from the Iran war talks. An Iranian regional official indicates a truce needs to be enforced in Lebanon for negotiations to continue, but the U.S. says the talks are still happening. In Ukraine, Russian attacks on Kyiv and other cities killed at least 22 civilians and injured 138 others. More than 600 drones and over 70 missiles were launched, stretching from night into day. Residents in the capital had been on edge after Moscow warned a massive aerial attack was coming. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky appealed for more U.S. and European support today. He described the strikes as an explicit statement by Russia that if his country is not protected from missiles, these types of attacks will continue.
Italy commemorated the 80th anniversary of becoming a republic. The president placed a wreath at the Unknown Soldiers Memorial Monument. On June 2nd, 1946, a vote was held to elect the Constituent Assembly, which would go on to draft the Italian Constitution, as well as a referendum to decide the country's future political system, either a monarchy or republic. Women were called to vote for the first time in a national consultation, marking their recognition as full citizens.
In Hawaii, cameras have captured a rather rare phenomenon at the Kilauea volcano. This small whirlwind formed following the volcano's recent eruption. Scientists say it may have been caused by heat from lava warming surface air, which rises into cooler air above, drawing in surrounding air and creating convergence. The volcano on the Big Island has been experiencing intermittent eruptions since 2024. It's one of the most volcanically active sites on the planet. Coming up on CTV News, a grieving mother on a mission following the trail that led to her daughter's death. W5 investigates the sale of a deadly substance online.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, auto theft remains a huge problem, and we've shown many videos of thieves stealing vehicles. But one man who installed cameras inside his truck shows what happens while a theft is in progress. I'll have that story. That's just ahead.
Another great evening in our city. Whether you're heading to a local patio or a local ball diamond, you're going to find lovely conditions right up until sunset, and then we'll be seasonally cool overnight. Tomorrow, a little hotter. We could climb all the way to 29 degrees, and it is going to be hot for the rest of the work and school week, cooling down over the weekend with a little bit of rain returning. We'll take you through the 7-day forecast after the break.
Following a crackdown on auto theft, the number of vehicles stolen across Canada last year dropped by 18% over the year before.
And while progress is being made, there were still 47,000 thefts reported in 2025, which continues to put pressure on car insurance premiums. Here's Pat Foran and Consumer Alert. Pat.
Thanks, Nathan and Michelle. Well, sometimes even if your vehicle is not stolen, it can still be damaged during an attempted car theft. One owner decided to put cameras inside his truck and recently caught thieves on video as they tried to steal it. The 2024 Toyota Tundra TRD Pro is a nice truck, and Bart Keller of Alliston is frustrated that his pickup was almost stolen again for the second time. Along with the latest in security equipment, he also has video cameras installed inside the truck.
I have the immobilizer, the dash cam set up. I have a tag system on it. I pretty much protected myself as much as I can.
The first time the vehicle was almost stolen was from his driveway. His camera caught thieves as they used a grinder to cut through a steering wheel lock. Because Keller uses an immobilizer, the thieves were unable to steal his truck. Eventually, they gave up and left.
When they did that, the sparks went everywhere inside the car, you know, the windshield, the roof. So there was quite a bit of damage done there.
Last month, while he was at the movies, thieves tried again to steal his vehicle. They broke windows and used a hacksaw.
And they cut through the steering wheel. And it's a bit of a problem because it's a very expensive steering wheel with the airbag and everything attached and all the media on it.
Eventually, the thieves also became frustrated by the immobilizer and left, but Keller's video clearly shows one of the suspects. He handed over the video to Peel Police, and 2 days later, an arrest was made.
I'm really happy to hear that they've been apprehended and charges are pending.
A police spokesman said they couldn't comment as the case is before the courts. Keller says even though his truck was not stolen, the vandalism and damage caused still requires thousands of dollars in repairs.
I just hope this doesn't keep happening. We need change. We need to stop this.
Keller recommends investing in security equipment to prevent your vehicle from being stolen.
Now, I want consumers to protect themselves. Get yourself an immobilizer. Get yourself those extra little add-ons because I've seen my vehicle twice already.
And if your vehicle is damaged during an attempted theft, you're covered under comprehensive insurance. One claim will not affect your rates, but several could cause your premiums to go up as you'd be considered a higher risk. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
All right, looking at the forecast, this nice run of sun continues. Another lovely day.
June has proven to be a lot of fun so far. Yeah, and I think today is, we've been talking about it, it's just the perfect temperature.
Just right. Not too hot. It is going to get a little bit hotter as this week goes on. So if that's not your favorite, hopefully you had an opportunity to spend some time outside today. Hard to remember that just yesterday we struggled to climb out of the teens. We made it to 19 degrees. Today we were in the mid-20s, and by the end of this week we could be close to 30. Let me show you what it looked like early this morning, courtesy of our CTV News chopper flying high in the sky, a blue sky at that. We did have a little bit of high-level cloudiness roll in for the afternoon. That may have veiled the blue sky ever so slightly, but it's been wall-to-wall sunshine the last couple of days here, and it's been shining down on our city. Another great day. Here's the satellite and radar. Nothing to see here, at least not right now. High pressure locked in place. I do want to point out that it's been quite rainy in parts of the prairies the last couple of days, especially in and around Calgary, but Edmonton as well, parts of Saskatchewan and now Manitoba, some very heavy bands of rain and thunderstorms moving through. Eventually, what's happening in Western Canada has an influence on our weather here at home. High pressure is going to hold for a few more days, but first we're going to start to see an increase in cloud by about Friday, and then Friday night and into the weekend, we too get into some wet weather. But Wednesday looks bright and sunny. Thursday, mix of sun and cloud. Here comes that bit of cloud cover I mentioned on Friday, and it is possible that some communities will get into a little bit of wet weather. Dayside for us here in the GTA, this is looking like more of a nighttime scenario, followed by an unsettled Saturday. More on that in just a moment. Temperature-wise, it is 25 degrees right now in Muskoka as well as Ottawa. It's 28 degrees in Geraldton. Another hot day in Red Lake. Look at Peawanuck, 28 degrees as well. We have spent the majority of the afternoon in the mid-20s. A lovely day again. Yesterday we were 19 degrees. Big Trout Lake, 31, and the record to beat today was about 32 degrees. It's going to feel a little closer to 30 in the coming days, but humidity less the story as we make our way through the next couple here, which is perhaps a relief for many. Overnight lows outside of the GTA in single-digit territory for many different communities. But for us in Toronto, forecast low 11 degrees. Tomorrow might soar all the way to 29, and just about everyone is several degrees warmer than normal for a daytime high in the mid or upper 20s, as mentioned, with loads of sunshine once again. Let's talk about this 7-day forecast. Still hot for Thursday and for Friday, feeling into the 30s by Friday. But again, a little cloudier. Some areas are going to get into some showers before the day is finished. And then I know the timing of this return to wet weather is perhaps not ideal, but Saturday looks cloudy, few rounds of showers. We're going to cool down to a high of about 23 degrees. And then Sunday looks like we should see a little more in the way of sun. So if you're looking to plan your weekend, that looks to be the better day to spend some time outside.
Carry the fire for a world free from the fear of cancer. The Princess Margaret Cottage Lottery is on now. Here's your chance to win one of 3 incredible grand prize cottages, including this stunning Blue Mountain hillside cottage and $50,000 cash. There are more than 12,000 other incredible prizes to be won, valued at over $9 million. Every ticket supports life-saving cancer research. Buy now at princessmargaretlotto.com.
Also tonight, a classic musical that translates to all of us. Fiddler on the Roof in Yiddish comes to Toronto. We speak with one of the cast members coming up. A daughter's suicide left her family consumed with grief, but her parents and W5 followed clues about what happened leading up to her death.
CTV's John Woodward on the change her family is now calling for to help protect other vulnerable people.
Memories of her daughter are still so fresh for Susan Dallin O'Grady.
So hard to believe still that she's not going to walk through that door.
Annika Dallin O'Grady was headed for a career as a genetic counselor, but behind the scenes, the 22-year-old student was depressed, worried funding cuts would take away a research job.
She lost hope, I guess, because there was sort of too many things at the time going on wrong at the same time.
Annika died by suicide in April, devastating for family and friends.
It's a loss that you could never outlive, because she was supposed to outlive me, right?
As her parents were in shock and grief, they found out she got the job after all.
What was it like for you to get that news that if she'd hung on for just a little bit longer?
It was like heartbreaking to find that out.
Susan wanted to dig deeper into what happened and put together a picture of Annika's final days. So she called her bank and got Annika's credit card statements. And there, on March 23rd, is a charge for Monobank, a financial institution in Ukraine that she didn't recognize, but we did. The amount, about 124 Canadian dollars, is $3,879.60 in Ukrainian currency. When you include service charges, the amount is within pennies of what is sold on a Ukrainian-based website that uses Monobank and sells a poison known as SN. The same poison the W5 has tied to 150 deaths around the world, related to Ontario-based suicide kit salesman Kenneth Law, who pleaded guilty to aiding and abetting suicide on Friday. The same poison coroners across Canada have linked to 29 deaths since Law was put behind bars.
I want to talk to you about the poison you're selling.
The same poison that the man who runs the Ukrainian website, Leonid Zakutenko, has faced questions about before. The BBC approached him in Kyiv in 2024. 2 years later, he told W5 he regularly sells to Canada. O'Grady wanted to know more and started texting Zakutenko directly. She wrote, "Can you please tell us details about the purchase?" The answer? "I'm truly heartbroken for you, and my thoughts are with you and your family during this incredibly difficult time." What's it like to hear that from the man who sold your daughter the substance?
No, I mean, it was horrible. My daughter's life was worth $123 Canadian to you, or probably less because of shipping.
O'Grady doesn't think that website or other online forums that appear to be recommending it should be accessible in Canada. Her records show Annika first accessed one of those forums when she was just 17. Protecting children on the internet is something Canada's government says it's been working on in trying to pass an online harms bill, but it's been slow going. The bill has died in procedural rules since it was introduced 5 years ago. University of Calgary law professor Emily Laidlaw has consulted on a more recent version.
That's the intention of the bill, is that it would make things better and potentially avoid what happened to that girl.
Then on Monday, a surprise development. Zakutenko's website was taken down. It's not clear if he's trying to sell through other means. O'Grady wants certainty he's out of business. But in the meantime, she has a message for parents.
Even if someone hears the story and talks to their kid and says, "Hey, how's it going?" And please know that people want to help you. Trust me, people really want to help you. Then it's worth it.
Hoping more deaths can be prevented while these deadly products are still for sale.
That report from CTV's John Woodward. Uber has released its 2026 Lost and Found Index, offering a look at the items riders left behind in vehicles across Canada over the past year. Phones, wallets, and bags top the list of the most commonly forgotten items, but Uber says some riders also left behind some unusual things. They include a 15-pound frozen turkey here in Toronto, a full set of goalie pads in Edmonton, and a violin hard case in Montreal. Uber says Saskatoon is Canada's most forgetful city.
The Fiddler on the Roof has won 3 Academy Awards and 10 Tony Awards. And now the Howard Green Jewish Theatre Company has brought the show to the Elgin Theatre.
CTV's Andrea Case reports the dialogue is in Yiddish, but the story remains universal.
You may have heard of the Fiddler on the Roof, the play premiering on Broadway in 1964, or the 1971 Academy Award-winning film, but you probably haven't heard it this way.
Aber bei uns in Anna Tefke ist jeder einer, Fiddler auf dem Dach.
The current adaptation of the musical, now on stage at the Elgin Theatre, is completely in Yiddish.
When I first read the script in the transliterated Yiddish, I burst into tears, and I can't even really tell you why. I heard Yiddish growing up. My grandparents in a small Texas town, Lubbock, Texas, lived in our town and spoke Yiddish, but they only spoke it so we wouldn't know what they were saying. So I had heard it, but I couldn't speak it.
Playing the role of Tevye is award-winning actor Steven Skybel. He first performed a minor role in the play at the age of 11 and stepped into the shoes of the patriarch Tevye when he was 17. and again, but it wasn't until 8 years ago he started performing the role in Yiddish.
I happily found that the Yiddish informed the English and the English has informed the Yiddish, and so I love playing both, but I do love playing Tevye in Yiddish.
There have been productions of Fiddler on the Roof in Toronto before, but none of them have been completely in Yiddish. Now this cast, except for one, all Canadian, half of them are not Jewish, and none of them spoke Yiddish before this production. They worked for months to get it right on stage. Subtitles are available in English and Russian. Speaking to the show's popularity,
They say that Fiddler has been done every day since it first was performed somewhere in the world. Unfortunately, current events are making this story palpable and important for today, for Jews today, for anyone today who is needing to find a home.
Fiddler on the Roof in Yiddish is at home now at the Elgin Theatre until June 8th. Andrea Case, CTV News.
After the break, getting fresh, healthy food to more kids across the city. How Second Harvest and the city are teaming up to expand the school food program.
Here are your closing business numbers. The Canadian dollar up a fraction to 72.27. West Texas Intermediate is up to 93.53 a barrel. And the TSX jumped over 400 points for a new record close of 35,169.
Toronto's mayor announced an expansion of the city's school food program today.
She made the announcement at Second Harvest, with the food bank outlining an expansion of its own. CTV's Raheem Ladani has the details.
Behind this door and through this partition is where a new micro-processing facility in Etobicoke will soon help feed students across Toronto.
We can get all this great farmer food that we got already and then cut it, clean it, and package it so they can go to schools in a way that kids can eat it.
From Durham Region apples, Niagara pears, and Thorndale carrots, the Second Harvest facility is expected to be fully operational later this year in schools lacking the infrastructure to prepare meals on site.
They just don't have the capacity to have fresh food. They don't. Like, it's all prepackaged stuff. So how do we make sure that they can get fresh, healthy food in every meal?
With 15 new employees and a $3 million investment from the city annually, this facility will help support Toronto's expanding school food program.
This spring semester, we completed phase 3 of the school food program. This is an expansion, bringing a nutritious meal to 27,000 more students across 77 new schools.
Mayor Chow says the city is on track to serve all 330,000 public school students by this fall. With 1 in 4 food bank visitors being children, advocates believe a full belly leads to stronger students in the classroom.
It's not just anecdotal. It's TDSB research is showing children that have a healthy breakfast every day and food at school, they concentrate. They do better in math, almost 12%.
Learning better on a full stomach. Raheem Ladani, CTV News.
Team Canada took on Uzbekistan last night in a friendly ahead of the FIFA World Cup.
Picked up by Oluwaseyi once again. Osorio drives it in!
TFC captain Jonathan Osorio got Canada on the board in the 58th minute of the match, which was played in Edmonton. Canada added another goal in the first minute of stoppage time to secure a 2-0 victory. The team will be back on the pitch on Friday in Montreal to play Ireland in another friendly. To basketball, the Toronto Tempo has been named the WNBA's Eastern Conference Player of the Week for the first time in franchise history. Marina Mabrey averaged 21 points and 5.1 assists to make that 5.5 assists per game, while shooting 57.7% from the field in 2 wins last week. The guard also surpassed 3,000 career points during the same week. Mabrey's averaging 18.7 points per game this season. The Tempo plays tomorrow against the Liberty in New York.
The Stanley Cup final begins tonight with Carolina hosting the Vegas Golden Knights. The Canes hosted Montreal in the Eastern Conference Final, going 12-1 in the postseason so far. Vegas swept the Colorado Avalanche to reach its third final in 9 years of existence. Carolina and Vegas have both won the Cup once.
Just ahead, making room for creative expression in the downtown core. Sankofa Square transforms benches and waste bins into works of art and brings the city to life. That's coming up.
A public art project is taking over Sankofa Square, transforming everyday infrastructure into larger-than-life artwork.
CTV's Jessica Smith has the details.
Bringing a pop of color to Sankofa Square with a new public art initiative.
That's going to be part of showing the community participating in the creation of the square and making that space that we're kind of a blank slate of a space, and they come in and they help paint the canvas.
After over 160 submissions, 4 local artists were chosen to display their designs on benches and recycling bins that line the square.
It's just a blessing to be outside during, a Toronto summer. We love our summers over here. We got a lot of snow, but when it's hot, we act like it. Having my art be a part of that in such an iconic place in the city just resonates with someone that's been born and raised in Toronto.
For me, my piece is actually called Shared Ground. And so I think it kind of culminates, everything that the city is about, and this is a perfect place to do it.
The art initiative is in collaboration with the #Hot Square Summer programming at Sankofa Square with a blend of art, music, and more.
Seeing the balance between Sankofa and the Toronto community and understanding what it means to go back in the past and to inform the future, I really, really love that people are coming out to see this.
Designed with a commitment to creating a space to connect in the core of the city.
The art takeover of Sankofa Square is completely free to access and will be in place until at least the end of the year. Jessica Smith, CTV News.
On the bench, it certainly livens up the city.
Love that pop of color. What a cool spot to be today with the water. It was hot.
And it's a good spot to be tonight as well. The sun not setting these days until close to 9 p.m. So on sunny days like this, we really notice that extended daylight. And these temperatures are going to be sticking around a little while, too. We're at 24 degrees still at this hour. Here's how the next 3 days are going to shake out. About 29 degrees for tomorrow, 27 on Thursday. We will increase the cloud cover on Friday. And then Saturday is cooler. It's unsettled. It's cloudy. Early next week, we see a little rebound in temperature, but chance of showers again on Monday. Michelle and Nathan.
Thank you, Lindsay. That's it for us, but you can catch Vashi Capellos tonight at 11 for CTV National News, followed by Zoraida Allman with our next local newscast at 11:30.
Meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here at CTV News, thanks for watching and have a great night.